Hey everybody, it's Lori. This screencast is going to temporarily take the place of a tutorial on how to use Seneschal. It's a very intuitive system, very easy to use, but people have had a few questions on it, so I'm just going to walk you through creating a character and then using your XP, doing your downtime, and otherwise maintaining your character long term. So, the first thing you're going to need to do in Seneschal is get a username and password, and to do that you're going to have to email the staff. So make sure that you have done that early enough that you're not pressed for time, because you never know when they're going to have a chance to do that. Once you log in, I recommend the first thing that you're going to want to do is go into the player info and double check that everything looks right. I would recommend putting in at least one form of contact so that the STs have it on hand. I would recommend changing your password just so that, for security's sake, that you've changed it from the default. I would not recommend changing this name unless you double check with the staff. There may be a reason that, for instance, there's a 2 at the end of your name or something, just in case there's another person with that name in the system. This is also your login name, so definitely be careful with that. But let's dive right into the fun stuff. Let's go into creating a character. Now, I'm not going into any of the rules. This is all going to be technical. So I'm just going to create a vampire. There's really nothing substantially different between vampires and then mortals or ghouls, so you should be able to use this for any of the above. Like I said, this is very intuitive. I'm going to go through all of the little pieces individually, though, just in case somebody is having a moment when they just can't quite remember where to go. For most of these fields that are like this, of course, you can type right in them. Let's give this person a name. Let's give her a concept. And for drop-down menus like this, obviously you can just select away. For fields like this, sometimes you're going to click in them and you're going to see that there are just a certain number of options to choose from. It's just treat them just like these. They tend to be fields that other things rely on when you see something like this. So make sure that you've selected something that's in the list, otherwise you might have a calculation error somewhere down the line, or you might be doing something that the STs don't allow. Lots of this will auto-calculate as we go, so let's go ahead and skip that section. We're going to come right down to your attributes and your skills. Again, very obviously, if you click on a bubble, it fills in. If you click on it a second time, it unfills. If you click higher up, it fills all the way up to that point. If you click lower down, it empties all the way to that point. So let's create a pretty reasonable character real quick here, and since she's a hacker, we'll give her social last, and then go down to the skills. Now these, again, with the exception of this first bubble, which will now clear out as well, where it wouldn't in the top, these are just the same. You can just go ahead and fill these into your little heart's content. The only difference is you've got this plus sign here. It allows you to add a skill specialization. So you can type in here, and let's say I want to have her be a history buff. And for computer, we're going to have her have a certain amount of leadness. Now you can also add additional specializations here, hacking, etc. And you can take them away if you don't like them anymore. I just recommend that you make sure that you remember how you've spelled things up here, because that will come into play later. Not that you can't check, but it's just good to do. I recommend saving early and often, so we're going to go ahead and save this character right now. This is what this will now look like when you log in as well. You'll have your character name right here, so you can go ahead and come back to the character sheet. Until the character is approved, you're going to be able to edit this character. Just by clicking on that link, it'll bring it up. Now that you've got this saved, you'll notice that there's this link up in the gray box here. It's Estimate XP. Now, please note that estimating your XP is really an estimation. You can probably do the math better than the system can, just because there's so many if-thens, what-ifs, etc. But this will give you a pretty good sense of the fact that, okay, I've overspent my mental attributes, I've overspent my mental skills, etc., etc., and I still have a dot left unspent, I believe, in social attributes. So that will just give you a sense of, here's what I have left over. But you can also make this translucent and sort of, drag it around your page. But like I said, it's just an estimation tool. Don't trust it. Do your own math. So we come down here now to these fields, and these, just like up top, when you click on them, it will fill in with everything you could possibly want in terms of a merit. Now, this is a super long list. One way to pare it down is just go ahead and start typing. It is a partial memory, a partial match. So just by typing that E, we got, eidetic memory. But if you only remember part of it, like you remember something is called, there's all different kinds of status, you want to see them all. If you type status, it's going to bring up all the different statuses in here, and you can just choose the one you want. For things like eidetic memory, it automatically fills in the bubbles for you. For things like status, where it doesn't, you've got that going on. And if you need to put something in here, it will let you do that as well. It will, even ones that don't necessarily have this open by default, if you've got this little speech bubble, you can click on that and you can enter a description as well. If you've got a merit from a clan book, a covenant book, a source book, whatever, or something you've invented, something you're bringing over from tabletop, and it's not in the system, like let's invent something called Fast Fingers, which lets you type faster than normal, which means you can hack faster than normal, and it adds a couple dots to your hacking pools in general. You can see it. You typed it in. There's nothing there. You can go ahead and hit enter, and it will load it in for you. You'll probably want to describe what it is. See below, or you could say, page 12 Carthian book, just to give the ST some idea of what that's from and what they can do to approve it. Devotions, same kind of thing. What'll let you do that? Discipline, same kind of thing. You drop in, you can take your obfuscate. Rituals, if you click in here, you'll see it doesn't automatically fill in. That's because you have to pick a ritual power up here and give yourself the appropriate number of dots before the ritual will actually load into the ritual list. It's just a way of saving your brain a little bit. There's way too many rituals to ever want to load into one list. So you can always take something off of your system here. So don't be afraid to, if you want to look at the list of rituals, just temporarily add that in. For obvious reasons, flaws, equipment, notes here, these are all going to be easy to fill in, easy to type in. If you've got any special things that you need to add, make sure that you add them in the notes, because again, this will be locked down once the storyteller has approved the character, so it will print on your sheet every time. It's a good way for you to remember that stuff as well. So now that I've got the character pretty much all built, I can go in here, tweak anything that I want still, but let's say actually I want to save this. I'm going to submit it to the ST, and it becomes approved. Now, once this becomes approved here, you will no longer be able to edit this sheet. However, you can always edit your pools. And I really recommend that you create about as many pools. My sort of rule of thumb is if I'm going to use it once every 3 games, I want the pool on my sheet so that I don't have to think about math in the middle of mass combat. So yes, definitely your combat rolls, certainly most of your, on the fly rolls, if you're going to do a lot of studying, that kind of thing, I recommend putting them in here. So let's say we want our hacking roll here. Let's say that it's her hacking roll. We're going to call this eliteness check. Okay, so we're going to type in eliteness here. Actually, let's do this wrong. We're going to type in eliteness here, and then we're going to type in, what is eliteness? Eliteness is your wits plus your computer plus any specialization, but specializations will be added on automatically, so you don't need to worry about that, plus fast fingers. Now you see it very carefully. I've spelled this identical to this stat. I've spelled this identical to this stat, and I've spelled fast fingers identical to the merit. So when you go ahead and hit save pools, it's going to do this math for you, and it's going to calculate, okay, you start with a base of 9. Now, hey, I should start with a base of 10 because I have eliteness specialization. Well, you can see I misspelled eliteness. I have NESS here and 3SS here. So I go back in and I say, oh shoot, my specialization is in eliteness. I go ahead and save. And this time when I come down, you can see with the little star, it's added my specialization bonus. Similarly, if it was, say, wits plus crafts plus computer, what this would do is it would actually subtract the skill penalty and give me the star here, the double star here. So if it was a crafts roll, I would be -3 because it's a mental skill. So that's pretty much creating your character. You can always come in and edit your pools, and like I said, I definitely recommend that you do create a whole bunch of pools. Saves time and everybody's headaches during combat and whatnot. There's always an email, the storyteller's link down here. Use it with a frequency. And other than that, if you have any questions about how to use the system, you can direct those to the staff list as well. So the next screencast will be about how to spend your XP, how to build out your character in terms of backgrounds and everything. So Until next time, I hope you enjoy.